Okay, welcome to the Data Bazaar. Can everyone see my screen?
Beautiful.
Cool. So, yeah, you'll see, we've just fresh coat of paint and some new design ideas here. But just like it was before, we're kind of leading with this giant, big, fat search button. Or search box. We want people to be able to come here and find data. We want to make data discoverable. And then once you find the thing that you're interested in, we want to tell you more about it than any other place that's ever published data can tell you, including what's changed over its revision history and sort of what people are saying about it and chattering about and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to scroll down this front page here. Featured data sets. If you were a Qri Cloud user before, you probably saw that we had added a few, but we hadn't had a means to update them quickly. So part of this last push was just to have us a nice little graphical interface for the admins so that we can go and add stuff. So the turnstile counts data set that you see here was literally just added right before I started sharing my screen. So it's working like a charm. And you can see these kind of new layout we have for these like cards that describe a data set. And the, in monospaced font here, we've got the data set reference, which you can copy if you're going to do any command line stuff and pull and clone this data set. And then the biggest feature here is the title, which is probably the most important, and then the meta description goes underneath. So you can probably get a feel for this data set and decide whether you want to make this click, and then we tell you some more information about tags and the size of the data set, when it was last updated, that sort of thing. So this is kind of the high level picture of a data set that should let you decide whether you want to go further. And if you think something's missing from here, we'd love to hear about it. We've also got a fancy new little download counter here, so you can start to get some idea of popularity of these data sets, which ones are, so the clock started on these, the counter started on these Friday afternoon. So now it's a race to see who can rack up the largest number of downloads, and turnstile counts is up there, and so is World Bank population at this point. So keep scrolling down. We added some content we pulled from Qri.io, but we just kind of wanted to connect the dots a little bit more and say, okay, this is interesting, there's data, but like, what's Qri all about? So we want to give you some teaser feature information here so you can decide whether you want to learn more about versioning, sharing, and automation. Go check out our docs. And then following that section, we've got recently published data sets. So this is basically the same layout as those cards you saw above, but they're in a list view. So it's all the same content, it's just kind of less squished. And this is what all of our lists are going to look like. So this is what the users' data sets list will look like. This is what search results will look like. But anything that you publish, as any user on Qri will probably show up here first, and you can come here and check it out and hopefully get some traffic to your data set. And then another sort of call to action here for downloading desktop. And then last but not least, our footer is basically the same footer, or exactly the same footer as on Qri.io. So we have a little more design consistency across the platforms. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the turnstile counts data set, which is the one Sunny was talking about. And this is our new Dataset Preview. So you'll see here we've got this nice big blue header up here. And this will be at the top of the screen for all views related to this data set. So you can see we're on the Preview tab, and there's also a History tab. There's also coming soon, which we're building as we speak, going to be an Issues tab. But up here at the top, we've got must-have quick access to these important features like the ability to download. So this is now a new feature in Qri Cloud where we're not requiring you to use CLI and learn how those commands work, or even download software. If you just want to get your hands on the data, you can click on this button, and here comes the data set. So it's a zip file. It's going to have the CSV in it, along with the meta information as a separate file, the structure as a separate file. So it's all the query stuff that makes a data set packaged together into a zip file. You can also click this pull button, and we've got some handy dandy copy, quick copy things here. So we can copy the full data set reference if we wanted to use it with CLI, or just paste it in the desktop. And then here's the actual command from the command line if you want to do query pull, and you can copy that. And query pull doesn't actually work yet, but it will very soon. And then here's some links to get query CLI and get desktop. So kind of these like full featured drop downs that show you more about what you can do with this data set. And then if we scroll down to the meat of this preview, you know, at the top here, we've got high-level information about the data set. One thing we added here is this line that's got the last commit message, so we can quickly see the 7 characters of the hash, which reinforces that we are looking at a version control system here. We have a nice little commit message memo here, so we can see what happened, and that was committed 7 days ago. And then we go into the components, and we basically made the decision that the README and the body preview are probably the main event here. That's how you're going to get most of your information at this point. And if you scroll down, the README, it's just markdown text. This was all also refactored style-wise to look a little more familiar for a markdown rendering. You can see we've got meta and structure, which are also, they're both zipped up by default. So we figured that these are secondary, but at least we want people to be able to access them. So if I click on meta, I get a nice little key value table here with the information in it. And if I click on structure, same sort of thing. This data set has well-defined descriptions for all of its columns. So I can get an idea of what these different columns are. And this is the kind of thing where if you haven't filled out the descriptions for your columns, people will open this and maybe they'll say, hey, I wish I could contribute back, or at least help you define all of your columns, and maybe they can open an issue later and help you out with that. And then last but not least is the body preview. So small improvements here, but like you can see, we've got a nice little sticky header. I don't think I can scroll left and right on this one, but the numbers on the left for the rows, and then the header stays put, and you can get a feel for what's inside the data set. So plenty more improvements we can make there, but these are just this is now what a dataset preview looks like. Looks good on mobile, looks good on tablets. So I think we're in pretty good shape there. Next tab is the history tab. So this is new, and this is the commit history for this data set. And if we go back in any one of these, we can actually click on, and if you check out the URL, you'll see now we've got this long commit hash. We're actually looking at a historic commit for this data set. We can see the different commit message, and that this happened 3 months ago. So we're basically looking at the same preview, but we're looking at it at a point in history. So we'll probably add some other indicators here to let you know that you're not looking at the current, or at least the most current data set or version. Basically the preview is the same. If we click on this, this is the name of the user for who published this data set, which is NYC Transit Data, which is really me, but it's a sort of different alias that I'm publishing under. We'll get a nice data set list here. So this looks mostly like it did before, except it's got the new formatting. But the cool thing about these lists now is that we've got sorting capabilities. So I can now sort this by recently updated instead of name. Let's see if that works. There we go. And yeah, now we're seeing the freshest stuff at the top, which is wonderful. So let's do data set name again, and you'll see it resort. And next thing I'm going to do is search up here for transportation. Let's see what we get. So just like we did on that list for my user, here's the list of search results. So I can also sort it by recently updated and dataset name. So let's find everything that says transportation that is the newest, and this one is from 8 days ago. But what else we've got if we scroll all the way down to this list? Oh no, this one, I wanted to show you pagination, but we don't have enough results. Let's see if I just search for data, can I find enough results to have pagination?
What's the default, 20 or 25?
Should be 20, should be 25. There we go. So now we're looking at results 1 through 25 of 61. I can click on page 2 and keep scrolling until I find what I want. And click on next and keep going until I reach the end of the list and then say, oh, this is the one I want. And click on it and check it out and say, yep, this will do. And then I'll hit download and pull it down and bring it into my data analysis notebook and get on with my life. And yeah, that's I think that's our good overview of Qri.Cloud. Let's see if there's anything else I want to show. I think that's about it. Anything I left out, guys? Anything else?
No, I think that's it.